coming out of Mania, you're gonna morph into Cactus Jack for what's going to become a no holds barred with Randy Orton at Backlash for the Intercontinental title. But you wrote in your book Hardcore Diaries that you felt emotionally burnt out after WrestleMania 20, and you just talked about how you looked exhausted in photos. How do you kick it into gear if you're disappointed in your performance and you are exhausted and you're burned out emotionally, but I don't want that to be their last impression. I do want to do one more. How do you get in the right headspace for that?
Man, I think I just felt like I needed to, because the build-up was among the best things I'd ever done.
Yes.
Storyline, I pushed, I'd fought, and, they tell you, this is the hill you're going to die on when it came to having the loogie hocked on my face and walking out of a match. That's the hill I was willing to die on. And I'd shown that, my intuition was correct. The fans who forgave me readily. I think inside each of us, there's a, wondering of what we would have done in a similar situation. And I don't know how I got back and I got my mojo back. I just know that I did. If I was 285, which I was 270 by the time I had the match with Randy. And, that next month I think I had a 24-hour gym, a Gold's Gym. And, man, it was cold. I remember, really cold on Long Island, snow. I would usually go around 1 or 2 a.m. and pretty much have the place to myself. And I pushed myself really hard. Again, I knew that this wasn't about how much weight I could lift. It was because my offense wasn't dictated on power moves.
Cardio was the game.
Cardio was the game. And I really pushed myself. But also that apparatus, it's got a name, it's like a bike, but for your arms, and you're working everything. If I'd known about water aerobics and, high intensity.
What cardio were you doing with bad knees, with almost arthritic knees?
Yeah, they were arthritic, but I could do the recumbent bike.
Yeah.
And there was, I wish I knew the name of it now. Life Fitness had a good one. It's
like an
elliptical trainer. And going back to 2000, when my wife and I had the Foley's Gym in Navarre, Florida, I could go there after hours, have the place to myself, and I was wearing that thing out to get ready for those matches with Triple H. And so that, I'm not going to impress anybody in a weight room, but I was going to impress people when I was in that ring. So I did take it really seriously, and I would be driving down the road. I got pulled over at least once for speeding, and I just looked at the officer. I said, "I'm sorry, officer, I'm cutting promos in my head." And the guy knew I wasn't lying to. Cutting promos in my head, it's a valid reason for speeding.
Yes.
I'm sorry about it. Try to keep speed down. These are going to be good promos, officer.
Yeah. Tune in, bang bang.
And away I went. Yeah, it felt so real to me. In my 2018 nice 20 Years of Hell tour, I talked about one of the big challenges for me was just to take those images that were so real in my mind. And like you could almost feel like you could reach out and touch them, almost like when you're watching a 3D movie and you can't help but reach out and try to touch that thing that's heading your way. That's the way I felt about the promos in my mind and the images I had that I wanted to bring to life in the ring. Like I can just about reach out and touch these things. And now the challenge is, can you take these images in this match that you have in your mind and bring it to life in the ring?
So, boy, you did quite the job with these promos you were cutting in your head, because April 5th in Houston, you did a promo that Meltzer said, by the time it was over, I had my first 2004 award winner decided, as this was one incredible promo.
This is the promo I did in the rocking chair?
This is when we pull out the barbed wire bat.
Barbed wire bat. And I think I'm in a rocking chair, and I think in the long haul, the biggest part of this promo is it inspires a young Bray Wyatt, who would later tell me that I remember him telling me, hey, if you have a chance, This is before we got to WWE. I'm doing this thing. I've got a rocking chair. He alluded to the promo I did with Randy Orton. So if that is the,
That's cool, man.
Yeah. I thought it was one of the best things I'd ever done. And this is where Vince talked to me about the wisdom of doing it backstage instead of in the ring, because I could focus 100%. You didn't have to wait for beats or pops. You didn't have to get a cadence down. You didn't have to worry about somebody yelling what, which is, much as I love Steve.
That's an issue.
It's an issue. I don't think I was going to get the what's, but by being able to do that backstage, with the barbed wire bat in the rocking chair, alluding to the things I had done in Japan and the lengths I was willing to go, the things I was willing to do to human beings who were respectful and kind, that I would have no problem. I was wondering what lengths I might be willing to go to Randy Orton.
Meltzer said the exact same thing. This was a pre-tape promo, and it was better that way because it wouldn't have worked as good in front of a live audience. It ended with him using the barbed wire bat and going mad while the people filming started freaking. Of course, Flair and Orton are there to sell the reaction as they're watching on the monitor, and it's announced that after beating Triple H 2 weeks in a row, that Shelton Benjamin is now going to team with you, Benoit, and Michaels to take on Evolution. This is one of those rare moments where it looked like the company had big plans for Shelton Benjamin. Yeah. And he's a guy who's been around and super reliable for a long time, but I think a lot of fans still look and say, man, I could have did so much more with that guy.
He just had that tremendous singles match, right?
Yes.
Because I remember a talent meeting, John Laurinaitis plays parts of that match to us, and it's just a masterpiece. It really is a phenomenal match. I remember that match and being, my dad had to drive me to the airport because I'd gotten food poisoning.
Oh.
I think even though I was dropping that weight, I gave myself that Easter Sunday cheat day, and something didn't bode well for me. So if it had been another time, I wouldn't have even gotten on that plane. I felt really, really bad. And I believe I wrestled that match in black jeans and black work boots, which was very unusual for me. I could go back and see, but I did not want to have a match on television. Overruled on that one. I wasn't completely comfortable with the Cactus Jack transition, but that promo, that pre-tape promo was one of the best things I've ever done.
And then after all the glitz and glamour of WrestleMania and The Rock and this unbelievable promo, you wrestle your next match at an independent show.
Did?
You're in Northeast Wrestling at Rutgers University. It's Jerry Lawler versus Al Snow. You're in Al's corner. Coach is in Lawler's corner.
All right, so I'm not wrestling.
It turned into a tag.
Oh, it did?
There's
because I wanted to get some ring time. That's why. I wanted to get some time in the ring.
Which is, imagine showing up to an advertise, and I'm not saying this to be ugly. It's advertised Jerry Lawler and Al Snow, and all of a sudden, Mick Foley's in the match. That's a whole new coat of paint there, as Bruce would say. So the Go Home Raw in Chicago has you in full cactus mode, promising a bloodbath. Orton's trying to hit you with a chair, but you hit the chair with a barbed wire bat, and of course Orton powders. In the main event, you go 20 minutes in this 8-man tag that ends when Michaels pins Orton with a super kick, which I guess maybe doesn't make the most sense in the world since you're going to be in a match with him for the Intercontinental title, but that's what happened.
Who else was there that we could have beaten?
I don't have it in front of me, but if it's the same setup that we just had,
then it could have been Dave or Rick.
A whole host of folks.